vocal thing that we always undermine in South Sudan. But this hate speech and also tribalism is now making a lot of problem to our society. Our society is now engulfed by online speech. You can see communities fighting online, and the youth has also entered, and they are also fighting, backing up the communities, and that is the big problem. So our responsibility is to make South Sudan a better place, to make South Sudan a place where everybody see that the country has a visions and the country is going to do something also to a generation. But today we have been seeing there is a grouping, there is a camping that we always see in youth and also in elders. You can see that there are online beef. You can also find that most people are beefing in with another persons, and you can find also other people are beefing in the name of the communities. Something that has never been there since South Sudan got independent, but we have really seen this. And what can we say about this? Can we say that South Sudan is losing its integrity, or South Sudan is moving in a way that we don't understand? So, Brother Nwang, we are going to discuss this topic, and I think we are going to iron it out. Brother Anwang Tiak, you can see that South Sudan has been divided. If we really see in your face, and when you stay on social media, you may find out that the fighting will erupt just in 30 minutes to come. But when you don't join social media, you may find that there is nothing happening. All people are moving and there is peace. But when you go online, you may find out that people will fight tomorrow, or people will fight immediately when you see the post. Have you seen how digital is making this? I mean, dividing peoples apart. Have you seen that South Sudanese have really divided online when you check exactly? And what could be done in all this process as you see that our people are now divided online, and you may also see there are a lot of online hate speech. People are promoting also propaganda, and so saying Mr. X is like this and Mr. X is like this. So what do you say about this, and how can we prevent all these things for our country to move forward? Thank you.
Denise, uh, thank you, podcast, for having me. It is a great privilege and honor to be part of this program. And, to me, the topic actually is very interesting because as a young person, I have always been online, and sometimes I may find myself the victims of the hate speech and all the criticism that are going on social media and other platforms, including TikTok and X, especially TikTok and Facebook. These are the two measures that our people nowadays are using. As you have said, before I go deep uh, to highlight, the challenges or the effect of these online uh, hate speeches, I want first to agree with you that in South Sudan, especially those who are staying outside the country, they are seeing only balance in South Sudan because for them they are just getting inaccurate news. They are getting, all the criticism, and as such, it's made them to see South Sudan as a violent country and unsafe, you know, for the foreigners and citizens itself to stay. This statement actually remind me the time I was in Uganda. Uh, doing everything online sometimes it might be very dangerous. I was even about to start there in Uganda because I see there is almost a fighting in South Sudan. And I said to myself, instead of going back, seeing there is, the imminence of war, I should rather stay instead of going back to South Sudan again.
In connection, and you need to be here with us. Thanks.
Is it right?
Yes, yeah, no problem. Just continue from there.
Okay. This social media actually, if it is misused, I think it may cause more harm than good. And this actually it originated itself from tribalism, as they put it in the topic. And before we go through the effects of tribalism or online hate speech, uh, I would like first to start with by giving just a simple definition of tribalism for those who might have not known. Uh, and after that, I will go and talk about the effects. Uh, Tribalism, uh, in my simplest definition, it simply uh, mean a situations where people show strong loyalty to their own tribes or ethnic groups and treat others as inferior and enemy to them. So that is what tribalism mean. Uh, in other in other way, it is simply when uh, someone sees others, or maybe you can judge people based on tribals identity, instead of character and ability or citizenship. That one actually is also a tribalism, putting your tribe first before the country. So what I mean here, better than any other or your tribes. So that's one. If you are the kind of the person who is practicing these behaviors in the tribalism, which we are talking about today, uh, what I want to say is, I don't mean like to hate. I don't mean to tell you that you go and hate your tribe or state or region, no. But I'm telling you to put your country first before your own tribes. So that's one. Uh, to come to the effects of the tribalism and hate speech online, it has a negative impacts on the youth, especially young people, those who are not, those who don't know anything about history of South Sudan. If we are going to behave like this, they may adapt to it, and later on, uh, the impacts will be on them. Hate speech sometimes encourages other youth, to start violence against one another. Hate speech give people that space, of hating one another without proper reasons. Hate speech can make other people's victims, and it can make, you know, it can weaken communities, relationships, because when people are involving, in the negative discussions on social media, the communities may see themselves as enemies to one another, and that's the reason uh, I say that our South Sudan should learn, to abolish all the negative criticism and online hate speeches. Thank you. I hope
Yes,
I have answered you.
of course, yes. Brother Nwang, you have really elaborated more about what we were supposed to discuss, and when you see, I mean, when you see South Sudan, you can see that South Sudan is potential in everything. Because we have resources, and all these resources, of course, yes, even if we have seen that they have been used for another interest, and they have not been used for development of the country, of course, yes, we cannot say that this is where we can find out that South Sudan it has the potentials with all this history. South Sudan fought multiple war. South Sudanese fought with the Sudanese regime, and this is the Islamic regime. But they fought seriously until they get this independent. And this independent today that we have got, and is in 2011, brother Nwang Thiek, we fought very hard in order for South Sudan to be free, and South Sudanese to be free from slavery, to be free also from all this form of violence and so. And with this fighting, I think we got the independent, and then after we got the independent, then a war happened, and this is a series of war that happened to South Sudanese. It come to 2013, I mean 2013 and 2016. You can test all those violence that you see in South Sudan. But we cannot say that this is a tribal conflict, or these are the tribal thing that make it like that. Of course, yes, we have a leaders in South Sudan. They might be having their own interests. Let's say Salva Kiir, let's say Riek Machar, and the rest of the leaders, they might be having their intentions or the vision, because they are already leaders and they are also human. So they have their own visions on how they want to lead South Sudan. But for us, as a people being lead, we don't know where are we going. Indeed, yes. But these are the people that we trust. These are our leaders that we trust. But there is one thing that is keeping us apart, and this is a tribalism, is the one that keeping us apart, and there is no reconciliation being done to all these tribes. You may find Dinka having a problems with Bari. You can find also Nuer having problem with Dinka having problem with this. All the tribes in South Sudan, and some of them they have a problem with another tribes. How do you see these situations, and how are we going to end these tribal conflicts, if you really see it? To make it also genuine, you can see people are fighting today. People are fighting in Gorial East. Most of the people they have died, and you also there are youth also from Mayom. They came to Gorial East. They have taken cows. You have also youth from Gorial East. They go to Mayom. They also take cows from there. This is just a tribal conflicts, and they have now even brought into the picture that related into raiding of cattle. And we don't know if it is politics or it is just a social discourse. These are the things that we don't understand. But brother Anwang, how do you see that this tribalism is going to end? When is it going to end? And what should be done also for us to be free from tribals, from the tribal fighting that we see, and also a lot of things that you see online, and some of the things also that you see physically, because you have been here in Juba for a long time. You have also lived in Uganda. You know how you guys live there, and if you compare it to Juba, it's quite a bit different, because when you are in another country, you love your brother. Even if he's from different tribe, you love them. You feel that love, 100%. You feel the love. But when you come to South Sudan, it becomes different thing. You hate your brother, and so. So how do you see that we are going to end this war? I mean, these tribal conflicts. What will be done for us to be free from these tribal conflicts?
I want to highlight some things about the history of South Sudan because uh, those during the liberation struggle we were young, but we read some of the stories, in different books. We have been taught, how the liberation struggle began, and each and every one of us, I think we are all familiar about the history of South Sudan. I can attest, or I can say that to make comparisons, even during the liberation struggle, South Sudan people were a little bit united compared to the situation we are in now. And the reason that divided South Sudanese It is not because we want to, we want to live in the divisions or each and any tribe in South Sudan want to live in isolation. No, we don't have hatred among ourselves, but the blame actually, let me say it like it goes to the government itself. The blame goes to the leaders of South Sudan because the leaders, our leaders, they are historically known as liberators. They are the one who fought hard to liberate South Sudan to make sure that South Sudan people are free from, uh, you know, are free from marginalization, are free from nepotism, and we are free, and we can even see ourselves as, free citizen of South Sudan. This is their visions when they went to Bush to liberate South Sudan. After South Sudan got independence in 2011, things were good. The starting itself was good, and things fall apart only in 2013 when the government, you know, start fighting itself. And as I said earlier, that tribalism sometimes it has a negative impact on us. In South Sudan, as you know, uh, the majority of South Sudanese are illiterate. They have no good background of education, and for them, they know nothing about the governance, or the rules of law, because there were no civic educations to educate them on how government runs its affairs without interference. It is because of tribalism, and that's why and because the leaders know that the peoples, the majority are not educated. They can use them, for political power. For instance, like uh, if you see the conflict now uh, in the country, people, they treat, or people are taking it as a tribal conflicts. Even if it is a government with the opposition, people can take it as a troubles conflicts, because we still have of supporting ourselves. We don't support the person based on the merit. We support them because we believe that this person or this leader is from our tribes. If you have that ideology of supporting your tribemen, and if the person, sometime in the government, you can be given opportunity to work, you can be given a position. You know, being in a position there, some leaders think that they are representing the people, but that is not the case, because those who are representing citizens now are the parliamentarians, and all the MPs now, they came from different constituencies across South Sudan. And these are the right people that are representing them. If you are holding a ministerial position, or let me say you are in the executive branch of the government, you are not representing any part or tribe in South Sudan. You are leading the citizen. You are representing all the citizens, not your own community, not your own tribe, not your state, not your regions. And if we don't change that perspective, it's still people it may be difficult for them to refrain from supporting their tribesmen, because they see them as their leaders. They see them as the one representing them, in the leadership in the government, which is not right. For us to end tribalism in South Sudan, we need to accept that we are all South Sudanese, regardless of religions, regardless of tribe, regardless of state, regardless of the region we are coming from. That's the first thing we need to know. If we accept ourselves as South Sudanese, I think it can be easy for us to transition from the old mindset of tribalism to the united South Sudan. That's one thing. We want to see South Sudan. We need to put South Sudan first before our tribes. Putting South Sudan first sometimes may encourage us to show, our patriotism and national pride. If we put our country first, you know, before our, let me say, like, if I put South Sudan first before my own tribes, before my own states, this thing can strengthen patriotism and national pride. And if we are practicing it like this, I think young people will also learn, to love their country. Uh, that's the one. Another thing also we want to do, to end the tribalism in South Sudan, we need to have, good governance and rules of law. What I mean here, we want to treat each, or let me say, like, we want to treat all the tribes equal. You know, if the government is form itself, the appointment itself should be based on merit based instead of tribal based, appointment. We want to see ourselves as South Sudanese. If you are qualified to hold a position, you can be given that position instead of, disqualifying you because you come from different tribe and all these things. That is the right thing we can do as South Sudanese, to change our people from the old mindsets. Another thing also, we want to have a civic educations. Uh, what I mean by the civic education is like, if the government initiate, a mass campaigns against tribalism, people on the ground might understand that if the government itself has started this, missions, who are they to need to comply with them? They will comply, and I think the government will like that one. The people will understand it better, to conduct a campaign or to lead campaigns against tribalism. That's another way also. There are so many ways, of combating tribalism in South Sudan. But these are the few things that I mentioned. If government, another thing also, which is also very important things, the government itself, those who are representing us, those who are governing us, you know, without using tribal languages. I think people on the ground also may understand them. If they lead us with the spirit of unity, if they lead us, with the spirit of developing South Sudan, I think people on the ground also will understand them better. And if they lead us with, tribal mindset sometimes, it might be difficult for those on ground to transitions from old mindset to the united South Sudan. So that's all what I can say about how to end the tribalism in South Sudan.
Okay, thank you so much, brother Nwang. You have really said a lot, and I think we still have a long way to go as a South Sudanese. And we have not been prioritizing our country more than our tribes. We have not been prioritizing South Sudan more than any ethnic group. This is what we have never done. And since we aim this country with our blood, we aim this country with all the things that we offer to it. We're still moving very well, and we're still moving in the rough places. Our people are now dying, and most of the people, they have taken refuge in neighboring countries. Some of them are now in Congo. Some of our people in Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, and some of them are in Sudan. Despite the war in Sudan, we still have people right there. All these things come from ethnic group. But when you compare South Sudan with different countries, like when you compare it to Kenya, when you compare it to Nigeria, You may see that Nigeria is having 400 and something tribes. Okay, these are the tribes that are there. Even you go to Yoruba, you go to Igbo, you go to Falajin, and so, a lot of tribes, like 400 tribes, they are living there. And Nigeria is one of the country that has many populations, if you can say, you know. But they are living today in peace. They are living in harmony. They are living even there, and their life is moving forward. It's not like South Sudan if you compare. And we don't know what is wrong with South Sudan. When we compare South Sudan with these countries, we may find that South Sudan has only 64 tribes. Okay, these 64 tribes, they are giving South Sudan headache. South Sudan it need to move, need to go forward, need to do a lot of things. But only these 64 tribes are giving South Sudan a trouble, because South Sudan cannot move forward when these people fight themselves, when these people have beef themselves. You know, uh, South Sudan will not move forward. But brother Anwang, when we need to move something forward, then there should be a aim, there should be a goal for us in moving something forward. Like if you are driving a car, so you may be having a destination that you want to go. So you cannot have a car, you can't drive a car and you don't know where you are going. So you must drive a car and you must know where you're going. This is the same thing to South Sudan. South Sudan's image in 2011, and it is moving very well. Moving, it need to go forward. It was moving, going forward, but because of the tribal conflicts, because of the beef, and plus the interests of our leaders, so it make it not to move forward, and that's why we are here today. Most of the countries today are now moving forward. Have you heard about Ethiopia? It is now making international airport with 12 billions United States dollars. So this project has initiated, I think it is last 3 days. It's a big project. This is the goodness of development. You have also seen also the dam that they build. They build a big dam. That dams will also generate electricity and would also boost the economy for them. All these things are development, and these are the development that should be offered by the country in like South Sudan. And you can see that South Sudan is not moving forward, because when it move forward, it it is must for South Sudan also to look back in order to see who is fighting, who is doing this, and who is doing this. All these things are enemy of development. We cannot get development. We cannot get a civic education that we are talking about if we have insecurity. The experts, people like you, will not move forward and go to Ulang, or you go to Awil, or you go to Gorial, or you go to Torit. You cannot go to Torit when there is insecurity. Okay, despite you being an expert, because the war is there. And if the war is there, then you will not excel, and you will not even teach because of insecurity. That's why we say that for us to be educated, we need first to have peace. We need first to silence the gun, and then we move forward. But if we don't silence the gun among ourselves as a South Sudanese, then we will not get anything, Brother Nwang. Let me come also into this issue of tribalism, and why youth are also an engineer, and why youth are tools used for fighting in this tribalism. For youth to excel, youth empowerment always begin with you as a youth of the country. When you take your country as a country that will do something tomorrow, there are a couple of things that you should do to your country. The first thing you need to do is to think logically. What should be done for South Sudan to be in peace? That is one. Second to that, what should be done for South Sudan to develop? These two questions only, when we ask ourselves as the youth of this country, I think we may find a place. These political leaders, all of them, they are leading us, and we as a youth, We are the people being led because we are majority in this country. Okay, we have a lot of things that we should do. If we refuse to fight, then it means we have silenced our leaders. Okay, because our leaders can fight for themselves. Okay, our leaders cannot fight for themselves. And the same thing to you as a youth. If you don't accept to fight, then the leaders will not fight because they will fight when you fight, and that is it. And they will stay under the pressure when you fight. That is it. They can be in pressure when you don't fight, but they will be in pressure when you fight. This is where they feel the most, and that is why we always discuss how to end a tribalism. And is now okay if we are fighting for political aim, then that thing is also okay, because politics has always a side. You must have a side in politics. You are in SOA, you are in SPLM, IO, you are in any other party that you are. So this is not a big deal. You are there as a political minded persons, and you are not engaging in tribal. But stop engaging in tribal violence to say that Bari is like this, Mundari is like this, and Nuer is like this, Shuluk is like this. And so, because if we put it like that, then we are now taking back our country. But let us fight with aim. If we fight for tribal extinctions, I think it will not happen. God even will not accept that. If we fight to eliminate one tribes, then these things will not happen. If we are fighting to eliminate Nuer, if we are fighting to eliminate Dinka, if we are fighting to eliminate Asholi, Mundari, if we are any single tribe from South Sudan, these things will not happen because this this community, they have reproductions, they produce, they have youth. When they grow, they will also fall into that. And this is why we say when fighting with ideology, it is very hard to delete the ideology in the mind of the people. But dialogue always do that, because when we stay in dialogue, dialogue always does a lot of things. Because when we are in dialogue, it means we are now deleting the past thing that we did. But if there is no dialogue, then there is nothing that will happen. So, Brother Anwang, I'm saying there is a gap that our South Sudanese are not practicing it, and that is the dialogue. So, the power of dialogue dialogue is really very powerful. It can bring something onto the table so that people should discuss it. But I have never seen that there is a dialogue being done all this along among the tribes. So, can we take by default that South Sudan is at peace, or what is happening? Since there is no dialogue, can we take it by default or automatically that South Sudan is already at peace? We don't need dialogue, or what? And why dialogue is very powerful to bring to an end with this tribal conflict?
You are one of the well-informed citizens of South Sudan, and that what I said earlier, that if South Sudanese young people, most of them, if they were educated, you know, they can even understand to themselves that uh, tribalism has negative impacts, and if they know that tribalism is not good, they will refrain, and will make it easy for the government, to run it actively. My own perception, I see South Sudan as the best countries in the world. Other people down there may wonder why am I saying so, but you know, it is the responsibility of every one of us, to develop or to make the South Sudan a better place in the world. And if South Sudan is bad, or things are not going, on the way we want, sometimes we may question ourselves, why are we in these situations? Uh, there was a says, and I quote something. Jeff Kennedy said, "One said, has your self, what you can do for your country, instead of asking what your country can do for you. This simply means it is a responsibility. You as a citizen, you have a mandate and you have a very responsibility to make South Sudan a better place. And because nowadays, because of the lack of education and our people are not well informed, that's why now tribalism have come in and make things difficult for us. We are now we have divided ourselves, based on tribalism. And this thing, if the government fail to check, you know, uh, to check on it, it might cause more harm than good to the future generation. What I want to say, it is easy to avoid tribalism, not by speaking, but by actions. South Sudan has a plenty fertile lands. We have resources, and if we focus, we use our energy to work for ourselves. I think we will feed the young one, and we will even be able to provide ourselves with the basic needs. And if you are feeding yourself, you have the, let's say, like you have little services that are available in your areas. You feel like you want to go to the hospital, there's a nearby hospital. If you want to go to school, there's also a schools, and if you want to visit a certain area, there is also accessibility. There's no insecurity. All those things, if they are happening, I think most of the youth will refrain, from hatreds. They will refrain from fighting among themselves. But now, as we have said it earlier, because of the insecurity, you may find a groups, of youth, those who are not employed. They are just moving from one area to another area, fighting among themselves, which is totally very bad. And for us to abolish such a system or such a culture, let me say, it is our responsibility, all of us, as a community, as a government, to sit down, the initiative, to develop them. Use some time. If you give them, opportunity to work, if you give them, let's say, like, if you put them in training, that is a capacity building. They may change their mindsets. Instead of fighting, they will find themselves jobs or any work, so that they can be able to provide themselves with whatever thing that they need. So that is also a role of the government. And actually, I can see the government itself nowadays is struggling. And the reason being why the government is struggling is because the youth are divided. There is a tribalism in South Sudan that make our youth divide. There's insecurity and violence, and people outside the country now, they have ranked South Sudan as the unsafe, country to be visited, and it is because of the war that we have been engaged in. And if our people says now it is enough, we put the gun down, we dialogue, we reconcile, South Sudan will be a better place again. It's not too late for us to say enough for war. It is not too late for us to say it is enough for intercommunal conflicts. it is not too late for us to sit enough, for rebellion itself. Because if you can see now, South Sudan got independent from 2011, and within let me say like within 16 years, there is tribalism, there is intercommunal fightings, and there is a lot of parties, you know, and those parties they have their also they have the arms wing, and the reason of of creating that is to fight. We recruit young people, you know, and seeing you order them to go to war, they will fight and they will kill among themselves, you know. And if young people died, the future of country itself is also at risk. So what I want to say is, let's accept dialogue, let us accept reconciliations, and I can call, on behalf of the young people of South Sudan, and I can also send a message to young people that let us not accept to be used by our politicians, because it is not the right time for us to fight, because the fighting within the country, fighting among ourselves, is not actually that good, and it cannot build our country. It is good for you to engage in the fightings when you are defending your territory from, from France invasions, instead of fighting among yourself. That one actually, I encourage young people to refrain from fighting among themselves. Let us be a patriotic citizen. Let us be loyal to our government. Let us love, our leaders. And if we see them that they are moving in the wrong direction, it is also good for you to criticize them constructively. Yes, instead of putting negative, criticism on government sometimes, it may also initiate violence, because all the leaders who are serving us now, they have their own supporters. And if you see something wrong with them, it is also good for you to say it in a good way, instead of instead of insulting leaders, or instead of insulting the party itself. That one is not good. And I want, and I can encourage people to stop negative criticism online. I want the young people to refrain from incitement, because we are the victims. Even if we insult ourselves, even if we incite violence, we'll find ourselves dying for no reasons. And that one actually, it may take us back. And we don't want us to go back, instead of developing, instead of building our nations. So this is the one thing I want to tell our young people, and it is good for those who are using online, for those who are using Facebook, TikToks, they should also use it responsibly. To the leaders, I can also tell them that if you have been, involved with the youth, because there's a rumors around that these leaders sometimes, some of them, they can, they can support these young people, those who are insulting, those who are, what the Facebook with negative criticism. If you are supporting them and you are watching us live, I want to tell you that you as the leader, you need to serve people with integrity. You need to follow your mandate. You need to work, based on your jobs obligations, instead of sponsoring, online criticism. As a leader, you have a responsibility to preach peace. You have a responsibility to unite people, and you also have a responsibility to make sure that every South Sudanese have access to the services, from our government, And these are the things that I want to say. And thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Nwang. You have really said a lot, and that is great, of course, yes. Brother Nwang, let us come to hate speech. We have been ironing more on tribalisms, but let's go to the hate speech. Uh, you know, South Sudan's government has signed into law a cyber security law. I don't know, it was in earlier October this year. So this law was signed and it was put into actions, and I can see that the law is effective right now. And the government of South Sudan and also the parliament has passed the bill, and this bill is going to be effective. And the effectiveness of the bill is start immediately when the president of the republic sign it. And we still find these issues of cybercrime as a continuous threat to national security. You know, just people just sit down and they promote hate speech. You can find someone, they just make a post, and they make the post content that make no sense. They make content, a content that if you see, you will find that people will divide themselves soon. All these things happen, and they happen because uh, it seems like these people, they are staying outside the country maybe, and they are doing such a thing. When I have to assume that um, 90% of these tribal conflicts, it has been engineered by those who are outside of the country. So I have to say like this: these people who are outside the country, they have a power to mobilize people. They have a power to promote hate speech and also brand something in a way that they know. And then after the brand thing, and then the things will emerge into a match flame. And when war broke out, people die and they are sleeping in hotels, they are sleeping in big places. Yani, it is something really paining, brother Anwang. People who are now mobilizing people to fight, most of the kids, they are staying in Nairobi, they are staying in the US, they are staying in UK. Some of them are staying in Pyramid here in Juba, and they are now mobilizing some people to die. Okay, some people to die for their names. You have been saying this all this long. It happened, and why are we doing such a thing? And it is really nice if you mobilize people, and you also include your family, you also include your supporters, so that the fight in your name, it might be nice, but you are just mobilizing somebody who have nothing in the problem. Somebody even doesn't know your interests. Somebody doesn't know even what you are running after, but you are using them in order for you to get your personal aim. You know, some people now mobilize people because of other people. You know, and it is something that I've never seen, but it is here in South Sudan. Okay, we are mobilizing our people based on our tribes. We mobilize people based on our community. We mobilize people based on your personal interest. This is what we always see. But are we really ending this tribal conflict in South Sudan? No, we are not ending this tribal conflicts in South Sudan unless we use dialogue, because the barrel of the guns always doesn't have the capacity to silence the ideology. Ideology are silent using dialogue. When there is an ideology, this ideology is always silenced using dialogue, using reconciliations. This is how things are done in modern world. But in South Sudan is a different case. You might find that if I have problems with the government, then I have to take arm and fight the government. If I have problem with any oppositions, I have to take arm and against that oppositions. You know, it is counterintuitive, and we use guns in this. And who suffer the most? These are the kids. Okay, these are the kids that suffer the most, and that's why